What's going on, everybody? Double Check FX Sports Code coming at you with another video. Shout out to all who have liked and subscribed to the channel thus far. Just wanted to hop on today. I know I said I would make a video about the upcoming Final Four scheduled for this evening, right? So, as we said, it ended up being chalk again. With the odds as they were, these four teams had the lowest odds the entire time. So, how fitting that they keep that going, right? So we were on the right track with Duke and Houston, and just wanted to add to the video today. I'm gonna, for those who haven't seen that video, go back and watch it. I'm just gonna add on to the Kenny Rogers video breakdown that we made. I found some interesting things along the way to add to the video. Again, so I'm going to try to go as quickly as I can just to get to the main point of what I like for today to happen and the matchup we could get. I know there's been a lot of people saying it's going to be, Duke versus Auburn. The community seems to think, Florida versus Duke, and no one is really giving Houston credit. Again, that's fair. Again, on paper, they look like the weakest, one seed. But again, there are some things that, we should consider. So again, I'm going to talk a little bit about briefly the Kenny Rogers theme, the connection here as we go through this video. Again, Kenneth Ray Rogers, born August 21st, 1938 in Houston, Texas, died at the age of 81, right? So very important. Again, his full name, this is just a review for those who have seen this, this is the 86th tournament. His full name, Kenneth Ray Rogers, equals 86 and 229. And again, from the day of his birthday to the day of the national championship game is 86 years and 229 days. All right. So this is just a little review. Again, we talked a little bit about his father named Edward. They opened up the season or the tournament against Edwardsville. Right. So that's where it's going to take us to today. So this is the new slide for this one. So his birthday to the day of the release of The Gambler. Right. So November 15th, 1978 was the day of the release of The Gambler. So on that day, he was 40 years old in 86 days again, right? So his birthday actually falls on an 86-day numerology as well. So on the day of The Gambler's release, 40 years and 86 days in the year 1978. Now, this was what stood out to me a little bit too, was the result of round one game. Houston won by the score of 78-40. I thought that was interesting because, again, The Gambler released in 1978, and Kenny Rogers was the age of 40 years old, right? That's a 38-point differential, right? If I'm doing the math correct, I think I got it. And again, he's born in 1938, so, very interesting. Again, this was the day he died too, right? So remember that this is the day that Kenny Rogers passed. Was the start of the tournament. It was his 5-year death anniversary in 2020, right? Born in Houston. Now, this is what I thought was really interesting. This I can't, because of maybe audio reasons, show the video, but DraftKings, before the tournament began, this is before we did any of this, right? This was published, a little bit. I didn't find this until the tournament was going on. The Gambler, it's like a 1-minute video of The Gambler, and it illustrates, Boston Bruins fans, Boston Celtics fans, singing the song in unison, right? So it's a 60-second. Go ahead and watch this. It says it's more fun when it's for fun. And notice the second time to the beginning of March Madness. So after all that we were talking about with Kenny Rogers, what are the chances that they drop a March Madness themed The Gambler ad, right? They've never done this before, and there's a March Madness ad. But go back and watch this. I think it's on the Boston Globe. Again, go ahead and find it. You'll find it. Just type in Kenny Rogers March Madness. Interesting. So right here, new DraftKings Kenny Rogers singing fans and one unhappy alligator. I thought that was interesting. So the part when they say they're all singing the song, when you got to run, know when to run, and it shows these two golfers on a golf course, and then there's an alligator that shows up. And then the Gators just so happen to be in the tournament still, right? More on that to come. So what does it mean? right? We'll get to that as we get there, but I thought that was just super interesting. One unhappy alligator. Okay, here's the picture of it. This is kind of the scene. The alligator's a little upset. Know when to run. Know when to run. The golfers run, right? They're about to putt in their last putt. Again, is this a sign that the Gators are going to take it home? This is the subliminal message, or does it mean they're going to lose in the tournament? Regardless, as you can probably hint, I like the Gators to go to the final. That's going to be my pick. I like them to be the first opponent that makes it through because they're the first game. Again, a lot of people have Auburn. I think people want Auburn more than they want Florida. I'll be honest, but I like Florida to at least go into the final game. I think it makes sense for them to play Duke or Houston. That's a good game. Everybody's going to tune in for Florida. I don't know how they'll turn in for Auburn. I don't. It's just not strong enough to me. I don't know. I could be wrong. But if I were you, I would take Florida, right? And this gets me into, the George Foreman connection, right? So the day after that game, the great late, George Foreman passes away. And this was an interesting title as well because Rumble in the Jungle, right? And George Foreman just so happened to have 81 fights and 76 wins. Again, 5 losses, right? So he goes 81, 76 all time, right? So he dies, I think it was the 21st of March. And then the very next day, what happens? Houston plays Gonzaga. Not only that, but they win by a score of 81-76 to tribute George Foreman's total fight to win record, right? So I thought that was interesting on the 3-2-2 day, 81-76, George Foreman, total fights, total wins. So that was another good, stance in itself. Where am I at here? Okay, so we go back. This is the other note I had if you watched my previous video on how we got to the final of Duke and Houston, because the songwriter of The Gambler is Don Shields, who is from Durham, North Carolina. So that's why we liked that Duke-Houston matchup to begin with, because of this song, right? And we got to O.J. Simpson, right? So I was looking back to, this is just extra for right now. O.J. Simpson died on April 10th, right? April 10th. So what I thought was interesting about that is if you go, I'm going to type in the April 10th. So Houston, Texas is 10:34. Now, if they were to win the championship on Monday, they could possibly have a parade, right, on April 10th to commemorate O.J. Simpson. The phrase Thursday Parade in Houston, Texas is a direct 10:34 match on O.J.'s birthday. So how fitting, could that be, if they indeed do it, right? They could indeed do that, winning on O.J.'s birthday, right? Or I'm sorry, O.J.'s death day. Again, it's still up for grabs, but what do I like? I think your safe play. If I were you, I would pick Houston to cover with a few extra points, just in case. I don't know. And then I like Florida regardless. So for my picks today, I like Houston with points, maybe add a couple if you're not sure, and then take Florida because, with everyone saying Duke, could it be? Of course, because again, there are some things that lead to Duke, but from what I see here, they would go all this is pretty good. There are some good signs for Houston and no one's really talking about them. So it could be worth it to pick them with points today. So again, I like Florida versus Houston or Florida versus Duke, could go either way just because the name of the song, right? Thursday Parade equals Houston, Texas. So, I like both scenarios. I don't want to, eliminate either. So just to recap today, again, I kind of made this short. I wanted to do a video, but just take a look. Like, 40 years, 86 days, right, from the song. You know, they win 78-40 on the day, 5-year anniversary of his death. Again, there was a gambling push for this ad, right? Kenny Rogers, time to be the beginning of March Madness, just like we were talking about. So, what are the odds that this happens? No one's onto this, by the way. Everyone's doing, the, Cooper flag and the flag and all that. And I'm like, really? Like, cool, but like super, like, not, again, I'm not impressed with that. Auburn is AU, like, for gold, like, cool, but like, I'm just not. This is a little bit more detailed. I don't know about you. This is just weird stuff. This is just like things that are actually building on each other. Whereas Cooper flag and Cooper DeJean and the flag day and Trump's birthday is flag. Like, not to like be, that's just like what everyone looks at. Like, there's just so much more that could be. And these are adding up. Again, no one's talking about Houston. I've been saying Houston from the beginning. Again, could they get wiped out? Sure, but regardless, I like Florida today. I would say that's your lock pick. And then I like Houston to cover with points because, again, let's think about it. 11th season for Coach Sampson, Norman Dale Sampson, Hoosiers, 1986. He coached at Indiana. Yeah. And then Duke is the reason they win. Like, let's talk about, like, there's no real rhyme or reason, right? Like, okay, Duke wins in commemoration of Hoosiers. No, that doesn't, no, that doesn't add up. They can't just, and they like to keep them on 5. They have 5 championships for Duke. I mean, would I be surprised? No, but it seems to, like, everyone is on Duke. And it's like they would take so many people's money if they had that. So I'm not really, again, this is what I see. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I just wanted to make a video before, we had the tip off at like 3 or was it 6 o'clock. So yeah, just let me know your thoughts. Again, George Foreman, 81-76, 81 fights, 76 wins. Just let me know your thoughts. Double check FX Sports Code coming at you with another video. Today, I like Florida Gators to win, and I like Houston to cover. I would say stretch it 7.5, 8.5 spread as a safe. So hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.